Hi everyone and welcome to Apprenticeish, where we talk all about apprentices, apprenticeships, kind of. As an apprentice at some point, you may genuinely hear the statement, which is the apprenticeship route is easier than the traditional route. There is something to be said about the difficulty of being an apprentice. There is something to be said about this very title of the video. And so I just want to get straight into it because we don't have time, chill. First reason why I personally believe that the degree apprenticeship route is harder than going via the traditional route is because there is a hell of a lot more things to juggle all at the same time. I don't know about you guys. I'm a 5th year solicitor apprentice and I work, studying entails, I have like weekly essays, sometimes regularly now actually because I'm in my final year, 2 essays per week, 2 lectures, like 2 modules to do at once, which is a lot to do on top of working 4 days a week. Sometimes you work outside of your working hours in order to get super urgent tasks done. There's a lot, like socially, you haven't really moved out of your current social circle, so there's a lot of interactions and friendships that you have to maintain. I'm not making this video to complain about apprenticeships. I'm just explaining why it may be harder to do, because I think there's this very strong rhetoric on social media and plenty of different social platforms that the apprenticeship is so easy, you get paid to work and to study and you call it a day. But let me tell you, it's not for everyone. So sometimes I think having so much to juggle can be a lot for some people. And hey, there are a lot of people who are willing to embrace and accept the challenge, but also just appreciating that it can get a lot and it can get very hard very quickly. And it's easy to talk about things in theory, but when you're in the job, when you don't have summer holidays, when you're working, like, there's no summer. I just like, I don't want to say it's mind-boggling, but there's no summer, guys. Like, for some people, that in itself, managing all of those things can be a lot. I think the second thing that can be harder is definitely navigating the working environment. That office environment, yeah, it can take some people out. I will say that for free. There are some characters in there. There are some people in there. There are some situations that you can come across where working in that space can be very good or not very good. And I think especially if you don't have a mentor, you don't really know what you're doing, and you're in a workplace that isn't as forgiving, shall we say, it can be really hard to navigate. But equally, you could have a really good experience. So even if you don't know what you're doing, it's a forgiving space. But I say all of that to say that, working in the office environment in particular, obviously not every degree apprentice works in the office. I'm talking about, I've only ever worked in office spaces, but working in and navigating the office environment, there is a skill to that. There's loads of TikTok channels, profiles, accounts, people's influencers. I don't know what to call them. There's loads of people who talk and give advice on how to navigate the office working environment for a reason, because you can do it wrong. I hope I'm not being too negative. I'm being realistic, guys. Like, there's a skill to working in the office environment. There's a skill to building relationships. There's a skill to doing things in a way that's healthy, and not oversharing and trying to make everyone your best friend and, gossip and all that kind of stuff. It gets very messy. So yeah, I think when you come straight out of A-levels, working in the office environment can be a bit of a shock to the system. But yeah, again, these are things that some people find really easy and some people will find challenging. So I'm just pointing out different things. I think the next thing is becoming specialized too early. Now, I put this in because obviously you can finish your A-levels, you can finish your degree, yay, very exciting stuff. However, because you would have had time, like, literally just to focus on studies as a full-time student, you would have just focused on your studies. Maybe you go to a company, they will bounce you around a couple different places, or you can try cherry pick from different things. When you're an apprentice, you're working somewhere for 3 or 4, degree apprentice, 3 to 4 to 6 plus years. Now, if you're working in one department, or you're working in a company that only does one kind of thing, so it could be social media marketing, and you only get experience in social media marketing, you can become specialized quite early. Now, I'm saying that with the caveat of obviously you could get out of that space after you finish the apprenticeship. Say, for example, you had worked 6 years, in business mergers and acquisitions. Now you want to work in human rights or employment. It may be a little bit more challenging because you would have had 6.5 to 7 years in one area of law compared to your counterparts who would have qualified, but they would have had a lot more different experiences in different areas of law. So it just really depends on where you work, how they operate their rotation system, but it may be more challenging to get into somewhere different if you've been so specialized in 1 year. Having said that, I have come across plenty of career stories where people switch out, do a career switch, retrain as something else. They move into a different area, even though they've been in this area for so long. So I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying that it comes with its own challenges. One of the biggest reasons why it's harder to do an apprenticeship compared to doing the traditional route is I'm definitely going to have to say the time commitment. Of course, the degree is 3 years, sometimes 4. Some apprenticeships are 4 years. Some degree apprenticeships, I'm talking specifically, they can be 4 years, which is really fantastic. Some apprenticeships are not that long. Some of them are longer. I think my apprenticeship is like really 6.5 years. That time of your life, you definitely can never get back. And I sometimes think, oh, wow, by the time I finish, I will be 27 years old. 27, team. God. And I would have started when I was 20. Jump scare. So I do think that if I was a full-time uni student, it definitely would have been a different story. There are some experiences that I would never get whilst I'm doing this apprenticeship that I would definitely get whilst I'm at uni. All of the clubs and societies, for example, time, cost, etc. So yeah, I actually need to go. I haven't finished this video, but I really do need to wrap it up. I'm filming this 2 weeks later. I don't really remember what I recorded, if I'm being entirely honest with you. But what I will say is I think the last bit that I wanted to go over, I don't even know if I spoke about this, so I'm really sorry if I'm repeating. But I really just wanted to hone on the final one, which is some people might find it harder to leave. And so when I say that, I mean, obviously it's like working anywhere for like 6 years or studying anywhere for anything you do that's 6 years is you're going to find challenging to leave after you finish. But really what I meant was that whole career. So I am talking to the people, the situations where they've done this apprenticeship. They've been doing it for 4 years. They've been doing it for 5 years. Sometimes people don't like it, and that's fine. That's okay if you don't enjoy your apprenticeship. Some people may find it challenging to leave the industry or find it challenging to make a career switch because you've been already in that career for a short time, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, a very short period of time. But compared to the time that you've spent alive, feels like a long time, or a good portion of it anyway. Like, I don't know. I haven't come across any, and obviously I don't know everyone's journey, of course, but I haven't come across a degree apprentice who has like made a whole career switch, i.e. they finished imagine like qualifying as a lawyer and now I'm just gonna not do that anymore. I think there's only 1 or 2 people that I can think of. And then they even went from like employment basically to self-employment rather than switching as an employee into another career. Yeah, I just think these are things to think about. I'm not trying to say that wow, because of all of these reasons, the apprenticeship is horrid. I'm just saying that I think sometimes there's this narrative that goes around that the apprenticeship is easier than the traditional route, when in actual fact, it is a hell of a lot more demanding, time, energy, effort, everything in between. And that's not just because, you know, you're doing a degree. Students, full-time students who are not doing a degree apprenticeship at university, they have a lot on their plate. Like, I don't want to put down, and which is very scary. I've seen this happen so many times, that people say that degree apprenticeships are really, really, you know, the best thing ever. They're really, really good. And doing the traditional route is just trash. And it's not good. Like, you don't need to put down another route that someone else has taken to lift up another route. Like, I just feel like that's so unfair. That's the same thing as saying everyone should do an apprenticeship. Like, it's not a no-brainer. You can't just say that, yeah, well, you know, I'm the expert on everything, so yeah, everyone should do an apprenticeship. Absolutely not. You have to choose a route that's right for you. And I'm just saying that there are some very real challenges that you face as an apprentice that you will not face as a uni student, just because you're in the workplace. Number one. Number two, like the lack of time that you have to be working and studying and managing all your responsibilities. I kind of just wanted to highlight some of the challenges that could be faced or might need to be considered when doing an apprenticeship. Maybe apprentices have a different view. Like, I'm not the spokesperson for every single degree apprentice. I would say I'm quite seasoned. This is my second apprenticeship and I'm in my 5th year. Yeah, I would just say that, you know, guys, I enjoy my apprenticeship, and for the most part, it's been really, really positive. But, you know, you have to also draw attention to the fact that it's not always going to be positive, and there are some things that are difficult for some people, not so much for others. Perhaps some apprentices haven't even thought of this. But yeah, I just wanted to record this video and just share my thoughts. I don't know how in depth I went into everything in the last section. I think this might be quite a short video, maybe 10 minutes or less, but I hope you've gained something interesting, and I'm sending you all my love, and I'll see you in the next video. À plus tard!